Hey guys, Blackview just sent us a new phone. It is the BV6800 Pro, and I want to open it up and start using it and give a little review on the phone. But first, I will do a unboxing
just to show you what it looks like when you get it. And this is on the back. You can see the specs here. So we've got a 5.7-inch screen, 6,580 milliampere battery. And you have 8 megapixel camera in the front, 16 megapixel in the back, 4 gigs of RAM, and 64 gigs of storage. So the box itself is quite sturdy, really simple, nice packaging, and this is what you got. It's the phone itself. You have a charger, the European socket here because I'm in Russia. We have headphones. And this is the first phone that I've had that is USB-C, and it does not have a headphone jack. So you have this adapter here from USB-C to headphones. Then you have your charger, the cable of course, which is USB-C, my first USB-C cable. And it's nice that it also has an adapter for a micro USB to USB-C. So I can use some of my old cables still. Then we have the phone itself, and behind the phone here there is a screen protector, it looks like, and instruction manual. There's really not a lot of instructions in here. It's actually in several languages, in English and Russian, German, French, Spanish. First impression is that the phone really feels pretty nice. A nice heavy duty phone. It's marketed as a rugged phone. It's got the IP68 certification, so it's shockproof, dustproof, sandproof, waterproof. They claim up to down to 5 meters up to an hour. So that's nice. They say you can drop it from up to 3 meters without any problems. So I hope that won't be needed. But I really like the idea of a really big battery because I've been having some battery issues with my previous phone, and I'm excited to give it a try and see how it works.
So fast forward quite a bit. I've actually been using this phone for 3 months now. First just watching videos, playing games, browsing, and for the past 2 weeks I switched my SIM card in, and this has been my main phone. So in this video I want to tell you a little bit about my experience, why I've made this phone my daily driver, and tell you some of the pros and cons. I won't get too deep into the specs as you just saw them on the box, most of them, but here they are. And again, the battery life is the biggest thing for me. That's the thing that stands out the most. I'm getting, with a full charge, about 8 hours of screen on time and almost 6 days of screen off time. So, you know, with average usage, you have no problem getting through the day. And if you're not using your phone very much, you could definitely go a few days without charging at all. And you got your 64 gigs of storage, which is awesome. But also you have the choice to have dual SIM, or you can have one SIM and an SD card. I've even tried my 200 gig micro SD card, and it works just fine. So you can have loads of storage in this thing. And other features are wireless charging and NFC. I've been using the NFC with no problems using Google Pay. And here are the Antutu benchmarks for those of you that are interested. And onto the actual design of the phone. So I'll show you some close-ups here. On top you have nothing at all. On the right side you have a metal panel here. You have the power button, and you have volume down, volume up. That's it. On the left side you have a similar metal panel here, and there's one button which they call the multi-function button, and this button can be programmed to do different things, 1 click, 2 clicks, or a long press. I've tried it out. I really wouldn't recommend using 1 click or 2 clicks because you can accidentally press it. Also in your pocket I had the 2 clicks set to the flashlight, and I would often take it out of my pocket, the flashlight was on, so I turned that off. But long press works, and you can use it, you program it to whatever you want. And then you have the SIM card tray. When you pull out the SIM card tray, you notice that it is metal, which is awesome, because my previous phone, it was plastic and it broke inside, and that is a real hassle. And again, here you have either dual SIM or SIM and micro SD card. On the back you have dual camera, the flash, or the flashlight. Down below here, this is the fingerprint sensor. It seems to be really responsive to me. Turns on almost instantly, no problem detecting my my fingerprints. You can only add 5 fingers though. You have the speaker here down below, and that's it. On the front, the bezels are a little bit big, and you have your camera here on the front, and that's it. And the only port is down below. You have your microphone here and USB Type-C port. But there's one thing that I have to note, that this USB Type-C port is deep. So the cable that Blackview sends has an extra long connector. It's about 9 millimeters. So here you can see a comparison with a regular Type-C cable and this Type-C cable with the long connector. So keep that in mind. Your other Type-C cables are not going to work unless they have an extra long connector. And if you lose it, or if you forget it somewhere, then that could potentially be an issue, and it's not that easy to find those ones. You know, the same thing goes for the adapter that they give you and the dongle for the headphones. It's going to be hard to get a new one if you lose them. That's about it as far as the design of the phone itself goes. It's big. You know, it'd be considered a phablet. With my hands, I don't mind it. It fits fine in my jeans. But if you have really small hands, you might feel that it's big. But honestly, this is something that I've sort of dreamed of. I don't need my phone to be paper thin. Like, it seems like most of the phone companies are just getting thinner and thinner. I don't mind having a bulkier phone that feels like it's going to be more durable and that has a big battery. It drives me crazy that when I have a phone that doesn't last me even through the day. One other thing that I will mention, I don't have any notifications right now, but there's a little light here that flashes when you have notifications, and especially when it's nighttime, I find it really bright, so I think I'm just going to turn that off completely because I don't even pay attention to it. But on to the UI. You know, when you do a phone review, it seems like most of the things that you talk about are just things that kind of go wrong, because the good things are just, it's an Android phone. Everything, you know, it does everything that an Android phone should do, and that's awesome. But there's a few things that are a little bit weird. So the first thing for me is split screen. It took me a while first off to figure out how to do it, but once you're in an app, you just hold the multitask, the task switcher button, and then the screen will split, and you can choose the other app that you want to use. But with default settings, it's only split right in half. You can't resize the split. It took me a while, but I found a workaround. If you go into the options and choose display, then you go to the display size. There's only 2 options, default or small, and you switch it to small. It seems like quite small. It took me some getting used to, but if you do that, then you go back in, try split screen. You can resize the split, but you have that give or take. You got sort of a really small, all the buttons and the text is pretty small at that point. Other than that, the auto brightness seems to just not work at all. You can change the brightness, but even if you go into the settings, you can see that I have this this auto brightness, adaptive brightness set to be on. It just doesn't seem like it changes at all if it's light or dark. But that's not a really big issue for me. Also up top here, there is no NFC button. So you can reorganize these buttons, but there's no NFC button, so you have to go deep into the settings to find that. There's no volume, there's no notification volume. So you can go to set the volume, and you can choose your alarm volume, your media volume, and your ring volume. So the ring and the notification volume are together, which is a bit of a downer for me because I get a lot of notifications. I'd like to have the volume on those pretty low, but I don't want to be missing calls, so I'd like to have my ringer volume higher. I had that on my previous Samsung phone. That you could set them separately. There's a few strange translations in the menus, but for the most part, everything's understandable. It's not an issue. But the biggest thing in terms of UI and software is that there hasn't been an update since September 20th, and it's so weird to me. That's 6 months now. Since I've had this phone, I'm pretty sure my Samsung phone has updated 3 or 4 times. but no updates at all for this. So it's a bit concerning to me. I'd like to definitely see some more updates, and maybe they would fix some of these little issues. Next, in terms of performances, the cameras, I would say that they're not that great. On paper, they should be all right. If you have good lighting and you get the focus just right, then the photos can come out all right. But your front camera here, it's not very crisp. You know, I'll show you some pictures that I've taken on this phone as I'm talking here. But the video as well, there's next to no stabilization. There's no auto stabilization. So when I'm walking, you can see in this video, it's really shaky. So that's probably one of the worst things hardware-wise for me with this phone. The other thing is, there are two versions of this Blackview BV6800 Pro. There's a US version and what they call the conventional version on their website. And maybe not everybody understands this, but different cell phone carriers around the world use different frequency bands. And of course, cell phone carriers in the US and cell phone carriers in Europe, for example, use different frequencies. So right now, for example, I have the conventional one, the European one, you could say. It works in most countries, but it won't work in the US. Basically, none of the carriers will cover the bands that this phone supports. And also it's the same thing in Canada, where I'm from. So that's going to be an issue as a traveler. For most people, it's not an issue if you're mostly using your phone in your home country and you're not switching SIM cards in other countries. But it's definitely something to keep in mind. And the links that I have down below will be to AliExpress, and I have both versions, so make sure you click the right one. If you're in the US or Canada, click the US version. Otherwise, the conventional version, the European version. And on the website as well, on Blackview's website, you can choose there. Both of them have free shipping, by the way, if you're interested. And that is about it as the things that I've noticed through using this phone. Just to sum things up, the pros. And right now, for me, this is why I've switched to this phone. I think I'm going to sell my previous phone for now and just stick with this phone. The battery life, really, I just can go through the whole day, and I can use my phone for 8 hours throughout the day and not worry about it. You know, and usually I don't use my phone that much, so it's really nice to finish the day and you still have 40%, 60%, you know, at least 30%, and you know that it's not going to end soon. Durability, I mean, it's waterproof, it's tough, it's also easy to open. It's got screws all over it, and I've seen people open it, so if you ever need to change the battery or anything, no problem. And the price point, it's $250 retail right now, and I think for the value that you're getting, it's a good deal. The cons, you know, like I mentioned, that Type-C, the long connector, could be a bit of an issue if you lose one again, but you know, as long as you got them, you're okay. No headphone port. I mean, for a phone this big, I feel like they could have put a headphone port in, but I mean, most phones are going wireless. Most things in general are going wireless, so it's not that big of an issue. And then for me as a traveler, the frequencies, the frequency bands could be a bit of an issue, especially when we go back to Canada in the summer. I'm going to need to either get another phone or keep my old one. So overall, I do recommend this phone. I feel like you get pretty bang for your buck at $250. So if you're looking for a phone, definitely check it out. I'm definitely not an expert reviewer, so if I missed anything, let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll keep it in mind for any future reviews that I may do. And let me know if you have any questions, and let me know what you think about the phone. Do you like it? Maybe you already have one. Tell me about your experiences. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe, and we will see you again soon. Ciao.